Hey, DMV, think you know what's happening in Ashburn? A millionaire running back living like a college student, exposing the NFL's financial decay. TWO defensive monsters training rookies with war tactics to survive cuts. And a humiliating defeat hides Quinn's diabolical plan to dominate the NFC East. This is not another preseason of lies. It's a revolution. If you think of skipping this video, guess what secret you'll find out late? The Commanders regime is rewriting the rules, and tonight I'll show you why the Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys fear what's coming. Are you going to be the one watching from the outside? You know what drives me absolutely crazy about Austin Ekeler? This guy has made $35 million in his NFL career. And do you know where he lives here in the Washington metropolitan area? In a one-bedroom apartment, and drives a $30,000 Chrysler. But let me tell you exactly how we discovered this, because the story is wilder than you imagine. The internet detectives, and I love these guys for their work, analyzed a video Ekeler uploaded early in January when he was still adapting the living outside Los Angeles in that video, which was originally just Ekeler joking about having to deal with snow for the first time since leaving California. Fans noticed something amazing. His car was parked in a regular old lot, blending in with dozens of other normal vehicles. No private garage, no circular drive, none of the things you'd expect from someone with his money. But that's not all. In the background of the video, you can clearly see what looks like the outside area of an apartment complex. A normal apartment complex. We're not talking about a penthouse in Arlington or a mansion in Great Falls. We're talking about a one-bedroom apartment that probably costs less than what some of his teammates spend on watches. I'm telling you THIS after years of watching players on this team spend money like it was water. We finally have someone who understands what being professional means. When Ekeler was with the Chargers in Los Angeles, he did exactly the same. Apartment during the season, home base in Las Vegas during the offseason. But here's what really blows my mind about this whole situation. The critics on social media immediately jump to say that Ekeler is wasting money paying rent instead of buying a house to build equity. And I think those critics don't get it. You know what the real estate market is like right now? Buying a house in the D.C. area is a massive investment that requires long-term commitment. Ekeler is smart enough to know his career can change at any moment. An injury, a trade, a cut, anything can happen in the NFL. And more importantly, Ekeler does have a house. His permanent base is in Las Vegas, Nevada, where he and his wife have established their real roots. What he's doing is exactly what any smart player should do. Keep expenses low during the season and invest in his long-term future. Now, I'm asking you something. Do you think this is a coincidence? I think not. This is precisely the mindset we needed in Ashburn. While other teams have players buying $5 million mansions that will lose value and $200,000 cars that depreciate the moment they leave the lot, we have a veteran who understands that an NFL career is short compared to the rest of your life. But do you want to know the craziest stat? 78% of NFL players face serious financial difficulties within 2 years after their retirement. 60% of NBA players go broke within 5 years. These are real numbers, and Ekeler obviously knows them. And do you know why this is great for the Commanders? Because it shows the type of silent leadership this team needed. Bobby Wagner brought us field experience, but Ekeler is bringing something that's equal or more valuable: financial and mental wisdom. In a league where we constantly see sad stories of veterans who lost everything, having someone like Ekeler sending the right message to rookies is invaluable. You have to understand something else about Ekeler's personality. This is not a man who seeks attention or needs external validation. When he was in Los Angeles, one of the flashiest cities in the world, he maintained exactly the same modest lifestyle. He wasn't influenced by Hollywood culture or the social pressure to show off. And now that he's here in Washington, he's doing exactly the same. While other players are seeking the most exclusive areas of Virginia or Maryland, Ekeler is focused on what truly matters, his performance on the field and his future. Financial stability. But here comes what has me seriously thinking, is this modest lifestyle going to affect how other players view money and success? I'm telling you yes, and that's exactly what this organization needed to change the culture completely. Imagine for a moment, Jackery Crosky-Merritt, a 7th-round rookie, seeing how a veteran who's made 35 million lives so responsibly. Do you think that won't impact his perspective on money, success, and life priorities? Of course it will. This is the difference between having players who preach with words and players who preach by example. Ekeler doesn't need to give motivational speeches about financial responsibility. His lifestyle is the motivational speech. If that surprises you, wait to hear this. But that's nothing compared to what Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu are doing with these rookies and bubble players. Cut day is approaching like a hurricane, and these veterans are giving exactly the advice I would have wanted to hear when I was younger. First, let me tell you about Bobby Wagner and why his words carry so much weight. This man isn't speaking from an ivory tower. He lived exactly what these guys are living now, but on a level most can't even imagine. Do you remember 2022? Wagner had a prolific career with the Seattle Seahawks. 8 Pro Bowl selections, 6 All-Pro selections, a Super Bowl, more than 1,500 career tackles. This was a future Hall of Famer at the peak of his game, and the Seahawks cut him for financial reasons. Now imagine the psychological shock of that situation. If Bobby Wagner, a legend, can go through it, what can happen to a 7th-round rookie? Or an undrafted free agent? Anything. But here's the amazing part of how Wagner handled that situation. Instead of getting bitter or giving up, he immediately understood that it was part of the business. He went to Los Angeles with the Rams and had a fantastic season. 140 total tackles, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions. He proved he still had much to offer. But what happened afterward? The Rams cut him after just 1 season too. Do you think Wagner collapsed? Not at all. That man understood something that many players never understand. In the NFL, you can be cut for reasons that have nothing to do with your talent or value as a player. And now he's here in Washington, not just as a productive player, but as the voice of our defensive unit. When Wagner tells these guys, there are 31 other teams watching you, so even if you don't make this team, your resume speaks loudly. He's not giving false hope. He's giving real wisdom. I think this is the smartest thing I've heard in a long time. After years of seeing this organization cut players without giving clear direction or tools for the future, we finally have veteran leaders who understand the business from all angles and are preparing the next generation for the reality of this league. But do you know what excites me more than all that? Frankie Louvu's story is perfect to complement Wagner's message. While Wagner represents an established veteran's experience facing adversity, Louvu represents the struggle from the absolute bottom. Let me tell you exactly how Louvu's journey was, because it's a masterclass in perseverance. This guy came out of Washington State as an undrafted free agent in 2018, not even selected in the draft. The New York Jets gave him a chance, but during the final cuts, exactly the situation these guys are facing now. He was cut. But here's what separates Louvu from many other players. He didn't go home to lament. The Jets immediately signed him to their practice squad, and Louvu treated that as if it were the most important opportunity of his life. He worked every day like it was his last, impressed in every practice, and 1 week later, he was promoted to the active roster. From there, his career took off, but it wasn't easy. Louvu had to fight for every snap, every tackle, every opportunity. He went to Carolina, where he gradually established himself as a starter and became a respected defensive force. And now he's here with us, not just as a second-team All-Pro player, but as a cornerstone of this franchise. When Louvu tells these rookies and bubble players, play with heart. Leave your last snap as you want to be remembered. Leave that resume not just for this team, but for the 31 other teams, and cut it all loose. Why not? And have fun at the same time. He's speaking from the real experience of someone who walked exactly the same path they are walking. Now, I'm asking you, how many teams in the NFC East have this kind of combined mentorship? The Cowboys have veterans, more worried about their own contracts and personal legacy than helping rookies. Dak Prescott isn't thinking about how to assist his backup in developing. He's thinking about his next contract extension. The Eagles are more focused on the constant drama between players and coaching staff than on developing young talent. Have you seen how they handle their rookies? They throw them into the fire without proper preparation and then are surprised when they don't perform. The Giants. Well, the Giants are still the Giants. They have veterans, but they don't have the intentional and strategic leadership where. See and hear. But here in Washington, we have something different. We have Wagner telling them, put your best foot forward and see what happens. If you're good, they'll find you. And Louvu telling them, play with heart, leave your last snap, as you want to be remembered. That combination of veteran perspective and underdog hunger could not be more perfect. And do you know why this gives me so much hope for the entire season? Because when I look at this roster, I see players everywhere who had to prove their worth. At some point, Noah Brown was a 7th-round pick with Dallas before finding his place here. George Fant, Andrew Wiley, Tyler Owens, Jeremy Reeves, Tressway, all of them came in as undrafted free agents. This organization finally understands something fundamental. Talent comes from everywhere, but character and determination are what separate those who stay from those who leave. When you have veterans like Wagner and Louvu teaching not just football technique, but professional mentality, you're building a culture that will last years. But do you know what impresses me the most about all this? The way these veterans are balancing realism with hope. They're not lying to these guys telling them everyone will make the team, but they're not discouraging them either by saying it's impossible. Wagner is teaching them to see rejection as redirection. If you don't make this team, there are 31 other teams that might need exactly what you offer. Louvu is teaching them to play without fear and have fun in the process because pressure and stress never improved anyone's performance. But here comes the really crazy part. And just when you thought we were done, this 30-3 loss against the Baltimore Ravens comes along and tells us everything we need to know about this organization's true priorities. But I'm not here to cry over a preseason loss that literally doesn't matter at all. I'm here to tell you what really matters and why this loss is exactly what we wanted to see. First, let's talk about Marcus Mariota and this situation with the Achilles tendonitis. The sensationalist media is already creating panic. But let me tell you why this doesn't worry me at all. Do you know the difference between acute and chronic tendonitis? Acute tendonitis is typically a result of overload or sudden change in activity, exactly what you'd expect from a veteran quarterback, adapting to a new offensive system and increased intensity of training camp. Mariota comes from seasons where he wasn't the established starter, and now he's in a position where he needs to be ready to be the reliable backup for Jaden Daniels. His body is adapting to a volume of practice and preparation he hasn't consistently experienced in recent years. But here's what's important. The coaching staff is being smart about this. Instead of forcing him to play in a meaningless preseason game and risking a more serious injury, they're being conservative and ensuring he's completely healthy for Week 1 against the Giants. And do you think this is concerning? I'm telling you this. That's exactly why Adams-Peters built real depth at this position. Sam Hartman and Josh Johnson threw 3 interceptions between them against Baltimore. But you know what? Those interceptions told us more about what we need to know than any touchdown they could have thrown. Hartman is still in development mode, learning to read NFL defenses and make decisions under real pressure. Those interceptions aren't necessarily a bad thing. They're part of the learning process. Johnson is a veteran journeyman that we know exactly what he can do. He can manage the system in emergency situations, but he's not a long-term solution. Reality? Mariota is going to be ready for week 1, and we'll have exactly what we need. A reliable, experienced backup who can keep the ship afloat if anything happens to Daniels. But here's what has me completely excited and what the media is utterly ignoring. Jacory Krosky-Merritt didn't play against Baltimore. And do you know why he didn't play? Because he already won the starter's job. Let me explain to you exactly why this is so significant. After Peters had the guts to trade Brian Robinson Jr. to the San Francisco 49ers for a 6th round pick, a decision that initially seemed controversial, the starting running back job was completely open. Chris Rodriguez Jr., a 6th round pick from last year, seemed the obvious candidate. He has experience, knows the system, and has had time to develop. Austin Ekeler is clearly going to have an important role, but as a 30-year-old veteran, we all knew he wasn't going to be the main horse. But what did Krosky-Merritt do during this training camp? He completely dominated the competition. This 7th-round rookie from Hampton, a university that most casual fans can't even locate on the map, came in with something to prove and showed he belongs at this level. The coaching staff's decision to sit him against Baltimore along with all the established starters is the unofficial confirmation that he already won the job. They don't need to see him anymore in preseason games because they already know what they have in him. I believe this is the smartest decision we've seen from PETERS so far. While teams like Dallas cling to expensive veterans clearly in decline, and while Philadelphia makes desperate moves to cover immediate holes, we're building with hungry players who have something to prove and their entire careers ahead of them. But do you know what's the craziest thing about this whole Krosky-Merritt situation? His story before arriving here. Hampton University isn't exactly known for producing NFL running backs. It's an HBCU with limited resources compared to the Power 5 programs that typically dominate the draft. Krosky-Merritt had to work twice as hard as other prospects to gain scouts' attention. He didn't have the benefit of elite facilities, first-rate coaching from day one, or massive media exposure. What he had was pure determination and raw talent that was finally recognized by our scouts. And now, he's about to be the starting running back of an NFL team as a 7th-round rookie. That's exactly the story you want in your locker room. An underdog who worked for everything he has, and who will fight for every yard like it's the last of his career. But the observation that blew my mind the most from this game against Baltimore was Colson Yankov, an undrafted tight end from UCLA who'll probably end up on the practice squad, made the best offensive play of the day with a 52-yard reception from Sam Hartman. Do you understand what that means? That's real depth, baby. While other teams worry about their top 3 players at each position, we have players at the bottom of the roster who can make explosive plays when given the chance. Yankov represents exactly the type of player development this organization is prioritizing now. He didn't have the pedigree of other tight ends in the draft, but he has the physical tools and mental determination to contribute to this team in some way. And the reality of the practice squad? It's not a death sentence. It's a development opportunity. Players like Frankie Louvu taught us the practice squad can be exactly where you need to be to perfect your craft and wait for your moment. Now, I'm asking you something important. Do you think this winless preseason says something bad about this team? I think you're completely crazy if you think that. This coaching staff is evaluating talent, developing depth, and preparing for the regular season. They're not worrying about a preseason record. No one will remember in February. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick's Patriots regularly had terrible preseasons and then dominated when it mattered. Do you know why? Because they used those games for exactly what we're using them for: evaluation, development, and strategic preparation. While the Eagles celebrate meaningless preseason victories and their fans create unrealistic expectations, we're building a roster that will compete when it really matters. Dan Quinn and Peters know exactly what they're doing. And these 3 news pieces, Ekeler's professionalism, Wagner and Louvu's leadership, and smart talent development decisions, confirm to me that this season will be different. Fundamental difference? For the first time in years, This organization is making decisions based on long-term strategy instead of emotional reactions to immediate pressures. That's what separates successful franchises from those perpetually rebuilding. Let's recap this quickly, but completely. We have financial wisdom with Austin Ekeler, showing how a $35 million veteran can live responsibly and teach by example. Generational leadership with Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu giving advice that will define careers. And strategic development with decisions like trusting Krosky Merritt and evaluating depth like Yankov. Do you think this combination is coincidence? I guarantee it's not coincidence. This organization finally understood what it means to build a winning culture from the deepest foundations. We're not talking quick fixes or desperate moves, we're talking about a comprehensive plan that touches on everything from financial mindset to rookie development to veteran leadership. And I promise you tomorrow we'll have more explosive news because this season is just beginning and each day reveals more about the real transformation happening in Ashburn. Hit LIKE if you think Ekeler will be the quiet leader these rookies need to develop a professional mentality. Subscribe if you believe Peters and Quinn are building something special that will last years, and comment on what you think is more important for long-term success. Ekeler's responsible financial mindset, Wagner and Louvu's combined leadership, or the confidence they're showing in developing rookies like Krosky Merritt. Because you can't miss what's coming. This community is a family that understands real success is built with patience, intelligence, and commitment to doing things right. And I need you to be part of it. If you really bleed burgundy and gold like I do, that subscribe button is waiting for you. The regular season is around the corner, and we'll be here analyzing every play, every decision, every moment that defines this franchise's future with the depth and passion you deserve.